Hello and welcome into a Matt O'Leary live stream. We are talking New York Jets versus the Denver Broncos with a little pregame show to get you warmed up for this must-win game for the New York Jets. It is time to call this one a must-win game for a handful of reasons. This game is must-win. Number one, 2-3 is a hell of a lot more palatable than a 1-4 start, but you look around the division, the Buffalo Bills lost today. The New England Patriots are getting their doors blown off and looking like they're going to head down to 1-4. You have to find a way to get to 2-3 and beat this team, this Denver Broncos team, which is sporting one of the worst defenses in NFL history through their first 4 games. And I get it. A lot of those numbers has to do with a beatdown Miami put on them, 70+ points. But Justin Fields had a stellar game against the Denver Broncos a couple of weeks ago, or I guess last week. He's had 2 good games, but he had the Thursday night. But last week's game, Denver defense didn't look good. Sam Howell went off, and even I thought Jimmy G looked pretty good in week 1, had a passer rating over 100. We got the games on in the background as well, so keep you updated on that. And just getting it into some New York Jets versus Denver Broncos. How about this one from Frankie? What a way to get the show started. Matt, my favorite human, no cap. Frankie, thank you so much for supporting. Really means a lot. I'm excited for this one. As I said, again, this is a really big game for the New York Jets in this one. It's imperative that the Jets come away with a victory. And it looks like QB1 is ready to go. We'll pull it up. They just tweeted out not too long ago. The New York Jets tweet out, mile high. Zach Wilson sitting on the bench, no headband, which is something you got to keep note of, right? Like he did not have the headband on in last week's performance against Kansas City, and statistically has probably his best game as an NFL player, as a pro so far in the NFL. Really would like to see a repeat performance of that. And I'm rocking the Breece Hall jersey today, number 20, for a few reasons. Number one, the Jets are in white, so got to rock a white jersey. And number two, he is going back to the place where he got hurt last year. Redemption on the mind. The New York Jets tweet out as Breece Hall returns. The training wheels are off for Breece. No more pitch count. This is a game where he should be getting 15+ touches, whether it's in the rushing attack or in the receiving game. TJ sends in a super chat to get us rocking and rolling. TJ, you are much appreciated. Thank you so much for the support. Says, how many games do the Jets have to win the division at this point? 10, 11? Is it still even possible? Well, I mean, that's kind of what we were talking about at the start, right? I would think 11 is probably what it's going to take, depending on what happens with the Miami Dolphins. I know they lost to Buffalo last week. They're up 17-10 at the half against the Giants. So if they go to 4-1, they will be in the lead right there in the division. If the Giants come back and win this game, which I think all Jet fans have to be rooting for, you have to be rooting for the Giants to come back and win this game. And how about former Jet Jason Pinnock, 102-yard pick six, things you love to see. It still bums me out that he's not a Jet. I can't believe that they kept Will Parks on the roster instead. Very poor roster construction there, but that's an argument for another day because the Jets are they have found Tony Adams and there's other safeties that they have on the roster. But you have to, the division matters, right? Like this division absolutely matters. And the Patriots look like they're going to drop to 1-4. So the Jets have an opportunity to jump up to 3rd place and then be just 1 game behind the Buffalo Bills with a tiebreaker because the Bills lost to the Jets in week 1. So depends on what happens with Miami. For me, they look like a real dominant force who just ran into a really good Buffalo team last week, but you never know. I mean, Tua has not played a full season healthy in any of his 3 seasons in the NFL. So he's 1 hit away from going out, as we all know. But I mean, how do you not look at the Dolphins as the best team in the division right now? 11 might be able to get it done. And with the second half of the Jets schedule, it lightens up. So if you get to the bye week at 2-4 or 3-3, you're not completely dead at that point. You're not completely dead at that point. Dan NY chimes in and says, big game for Bryce Hall. Need the secondary to hold down Denver's only strength today. Yeah. So no DJ Reed is a really big loss in this game. And I'm not saying like, oh my God, like that's it, fold up shot. The Jets have no chance. Obviously, they are going to have a chance in this football game, and I picked them to win, and I still think they win this game. But something else that I think we have to make note of here is what's the Jets' plan at secondary. And Dan says big game for Bryce Hall, and Jets Worldwide chimes in with the super chat and says, "What's the plan at corner?" And Robert Saleh did say that he has a plan in place. We don't know what that plan is. He wouldn't really divulge too much what the plan is for the New York Jets at that position. But you'd imagine that Bryce Hall might have to get a look, especially with Brandon Echols out. That's two corners that are out. So normally when DJ Reed or Sauce Gardner would be injured, Echols would be the one who would come in. And at this point in their careers, I think you probably feel more comfortable with Brandon Echols than you would with Bryce Hall. Just the reality of the situation, unfortunately. But I would expect to see a lot of three safety looks. Tony Adams is going to be back in this game. I would think we see a lot of, having three safeties, whether it's, Whitehead, Adams, and Amos, or Etch and Davis, who had a pick last week. They're going to try to mitigate what could be an issue with Bryce Hall out there. I don't want to leave Bryce Hall one-on-one. I'm putting a safety over the top. Sauce Gardner might have to do a little bit of work on his own, but this is something that's going to make a difference in the game. DJ Reed is a top 15 corner in football, if you ask me, maybe closer to top 10 even. He's really impressive and deserves more credit. He's an underrated player in this league because Sauce Gardner gets a ton of attention and a ton of love, and understandably so, because he's a budding superstar. So I'm very curious to see what the plan is at cornerback. I would imagine we see some Bryce Hall in this game, but I also think they use a lot of three corner works. Yeah, so Sawyer chimes in and says Surtain versus Garrett Wilson is going to be fun to watch. Absolutely. So when I spoke to Joey Richards earlier in the week on the live stream previewing this game, he covers the Broncos, and he said, interesting. So Surtain hasn't really shadowed a wide receiver outside of week one. He did it in week one against Devontae Adams, and then the last 2-3 weeks they've kind of gotten away from that. So I'm curious to see if that's what they end up doing in this game. You would really think so, though. McNally chimes in, I'm praying Zach doesn't lay an egg, man. You're 100% right. Like, you can't have a regression performance from Zach Wilson in this one. And here he is walking into the building. There he is. Zach Wilson, followed by, who's in the LeBron jersey? Who's that? Is that Harmon? Joe Tippmann's there. Michael Clemens behind him. So you can't have a tough performance from Zach Wilson in this one. Again, this is a really, really poor defense. The defense that struggled mightily so far this year. I don't know how you cannot build off of what you saw last week. You can't have a regression. You have to, give at least a similar performance or an even better performance in this game. Jiggaman chimes in, says, what's up, Matt? What's going on? Hope you're enjoying your day. Excited for this one. If you don't follow along Jiggaman's content, please make sure to do that. Quality stuff. I've been on his show a couple of times now with Italy Jet. It's always a fun time. Was it Justin Hardy? It very well could have been Justin Hardy. Yeah, I just watched the video again. It could have been Justin Hardy. It was hard to tell. Dakota, he's very confident. I've seen Dakota in the live chats, whether it's been with me or when I was on with Richie on Friday. Dakota's confidence. He says, we so got this. Patriots 1-4, which I absolutely hate that this Jets team lost to the Patriots because they look absolutely horrific. Down 21-0 at the half. Mac Jones had an ugly, ugly pick six in the game. How they lost that game, giving up only 13 points on defense, is just so frustrating. So frustrating that they lost that game. I was texting my buddy, producer Tyler, who was on the program before Jets Pats a couple of weeks ago. I said, Pats are going to go 2-15 this week to this year, and both wins are going to be against the Jets because that's just, they have the Jets number 15 straight. Robert Saleh and Zach Wilson look like they're in a blender anytime they go up against New England. It's so silly, but that's on the God's honest truth right now. Ricey Jinx says, any trade deadline targets? So ironically enough, the conversation that's been going on today, not Jets, but just NFL, is if the Broncos lose today, they are going to take calls on some of their bigger name guys. So whether that is Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, there are guys that you could, potentially go out there and acquire. Now, if you're looking at the quarterback position, because there's been the Kirk Cousins and the Ryan Tannehill conversations. It's going to be dependent on how Zach Wilson plays the next 2 weeks, I think is really key. I hope that Zach Wilson goes out and builds off a really, strong performance that we saw on Sunday Night Football last week. Unfortunately, the Tennessee Titans just went up in their game. So if they win and improve to 3-2, I have a hard time believing that they're going to be sellers and look to trade Ryan Tannehill. But, if they're looking for a place to buy potentially for the future, maybe it is, one of the young receivers on Denver would be an area that they can go. Dan NY chimes in. You think we're going to blitz heavy on D today? I don't know. I kind of hope not. I hope they're able to get home with 4. I don't want to send the blitz and get burned. Russell Wilson, though, is susceptible to taking sacks. So I think you should be able to get home with just 4 or 5. Maybe we see that. Maybe the Jets go 5 defensive, 5 down linemen. Teams have kind of done that around the league with strong, defensive linemen and had less linebackers or less guys in the secondary on the field. You could go about it that way as well if you don't want to have Bryce Hall on the field. There's kind of, I hate this harsh expression, but there's many ways to skin a cat, right? Like that's the line. There's a lot of ways the Jets could go about doing this in this game without DJ Reed. You could go straight up and have Sauce Gardner and Bryce Hall on the outside. You can move Michael Carter from the slot outside. You can go through a 3 safety look. Tony Adams and Ashton Davis have a ton of corner experience, so you can move them around. There's a lot of ways that the Jets could go about doing this. Jingle Dub says, if Zach has beyond a solid game today, putting together 2 solid games in a row, I will be playing the lottery. Yeah, he's got to repeat it. And that's like, we could be excited. And I think the excitement was justified to an extent about Zach Wilson this past week. Like, you can't dismiss it and be like, oh, it was only 1 game and this and that. Like, you could say like, that was a really nice performance from Zach Wilson. And then also at the same time, mention or bring up that, hey, like, he has to go out there and repeat this performance. You got to now build on it. This is just one-time thing. That's not enough to victory lap on. You can't be like, oh my God, Zach Wilson's back. You got to build on it. And this is a perfect time to do it against, again, a really, really, really bad defense. I know they're getting a little bit on the healthier side. They are, improving in the health department, the Denver Broncos, but even still, it shouldn't be enough to completely deter you. I think anyway. I want to pull up the injury report. I know the Jets tweeted it out. This is as of yesterday evening. So we'll pull this up. The injury report. DJ Reed and Brandon Eccles out. Sam Iguavoen is questionable. Billy Turner questionable. Jarek Bernard Converse could potentially make his NFL debut. And Carter Warren as well is someone to keep an eye on. Now, something else that I found interesting that I wanted to pull up was a Rich Cimini tweet. So he did his predictions for actives and inactives. And I thought some of the inactives, if this ends up being the case, would be interesting. So let's pull that up. He says, projecting the Jets inactives for tomorrow: Reed, Eccles, Hardman, Brownlee, Abanikanda, Zaire Barnes, and Al Woods. Irv Charles gets the nod over Hardman and Brownlee based on special teams value on the wide receiver 5 spot. Don't see 10 defensive linemen active, so someone will have to sit. Woods was inactive last week. If Mecole Hardman sits this week, I don't know what's the point? Why would you pay him $6 million in the offseason to come in here and then just not be a factor? Like, I was hoping for, and again, we have not seen the actives and inactives list yet. That was just surely his prediction. That doesn't mean anything right now. But at the same time, if they just completely, and here goes Tyreek Hill on a long touchdown. So I guess there goes any hope of potentially the Giants coming back and winning this game, because now they're down 14 very early in the second half. Sorry to just jump ship on that, but as that was happening in front of my eyes, figured I would call it out. But apologies. As we were saying, why would you pay Miko Hardman that money and not? Oh, that was a dick move too. Sorry. I'm getting very distracted. Tyreek Hill was trying to throw the ball in the stands to someone specific, and some guy reached up and snatched it. So hopefully the kid gets the ball, or whoever he was trying to throw the ball to. Anyway, let's get to Hennessy Heisman's comment. Zach needs to prove me wrong more than one time for me to be a believer. Right. Like, that's the thing. You could be totally willing to say, like, Zach was really good in this game. It was an exciting performance, but you have to be able to show that you can do it again. If you go right back to completing 50% of your passes for 150 yards, then, all that was for nothing, which was really, really tough, which is a big challenge. You want to be able to build on the performance that we saw this past week. Did he? Did Mac Jones another turnover? Was it? I must have missed that on red zone. Yeah, but I guess so, because the Saints are attempting a long field goal, 54 yards on 4th and 17. We'll see if they hit it. We'll keep you updated there, because that one obviously has implications for the Jets. 54-yarder is good. It looks like, yep, 24-20 Saints lead over the New England Patriots. Grotesque. Zach Wilson. Shouldn't you be prepping for the game, Zach Wilson? Patriots getting blown out, and Saints are about to score. Can't believe we really lost to this team. I know. I'm right there with you. Jay Boy says, Matt, Miko is coming. He's fast coming off injury. Why make him waste runs if Zach can't find him? Give it time. I say today should be the O coming out party. It should. I want to see the Jets put up 25 plus points today. Ideally 30, but if you can give me 25 plus, that's a pretty nice offensive output. And that would be a pretty nice showing, if you ask me, on the offensive side of the ball. And that should not be asking too much. Just wanted to pull up. Oh, here we go. Here's Zach Wilson on the field. We'll pull this up. Here's Zach Wilson on the field getting ready for the game today. No headband in pregame, so I wonder if he keeps that going. I hope he does. He looked good without it, last week. So I'm a superstitious guy. You got to keep it rolling. Dan NY says, could you see a bounce back performance from Cook? I don't. Not because, like, if some of his underlying numbers were better and they were just going against, like, some really unbelievable run-stopping defenses, maybe I'd have a little bit more faith. But he is really, really struggling out there. I hope they move more towards featuring Michael Carter as the second running back. And I'd like to see Izzy eventually, but I think we don't see a ton of Dalvin Cook today. I would be really surprised. Hennessy chimes in. Zach no headband confirmed W. I love it. Gang Green says, let Cook cook. I'm all good with that. I think he's cooked. Yeah, here we no, actually I don't want to show that on screen. I was going to show the Mac Jones fumble, but I don't want to get clipped from the NFL. Be like, "Oh, nope, you showed a highlight. You're getting spanked." That's what happens. It's unbelievable. All right, let's do this. We've been on for a little bit here. We'll continue to just go through and react to, some news that comes out. We'll have, I would imagine, inactives relatively soon, within the next 15 minutes or so. But I'm going to drop the link in the channel to join the show if you want to call in and join, and I'll pin it as well. Join the show, call in, bang. We'll do this. So if you would like to call in and join the program, we'll do that. Otherwise, we will just continue to react to things to expect in this game coming up against the Denver Broncos. 4:25, another 4:00 start. The Jets, I believe, have another 4:00 game after this against the Philadelphia Eagles. Phil chimes in and says, you can share the same cell in YouTube jail as Green Bean. Good news. Green Bean has been freed from YouTube jail. I am very, very happy for that. That was an undeserved slap on the wrist for Green Bean. Thankfully, he was able to do stuff on the Talking Jets channel, but scary stuff. Like he was, if you don't know, for whatever reason, on a YouTube short where Green Bean used music, they decided to demonetize Green Bean for 3 months, which is just that's horrific that they have that kind of power to do it. But that's why I get a little nervous with some of the copyright things, and especially the NFL. They get a little bit much about it. Paul chimes in with a question. Hey, Matt, do you think Zach would do a lot better as more of a gunslinger type of quarterback? Like let him go full Brett Favre? I mean, I think that's the argument to be made about Zach Wilson is coming out of BYU and coming into the NFL. Zach was, a gunslinger, someone who was going to take the ball and throw it around the yard and try to beat you that way. And the Jets had some times where that worked. For instance, early on in his career, the Tennessee game and the Tampa Bay game, I thought were two gunslinger type performances from Zach Wilson. They then kind of tried to get him into a game manager mode and limit turnovers. And there were a couple of good games in his second year while doing that. Not the Denver game. It was the Miami game last year and the Buffalo Bills game, the one that they won with Zach Wilson, obviously. Those two I thought were better performances from Zach Wilson as a game manager, but I think he is most comfortable letting it rip. And I don't know if this is he's going to be completely revived and completely saved because the Jets let him air it out, but I think that's stylistically better suited for him. I don't think he's ever going to be someone who just, stands there and take the check down. Like, I think he needs to, again, let it rip. It's okay to let it rip every once in a while and back the defense off. I thought he was playing too scared for a while, especially against New England. And when he was confident and throwing the ball down the field, it worked. Look at the performance against Kansas City last week. JVP says parlay Jets money line and Zach Wilson over 174.5. I like that. I think both of those hit. I would be confident in a Jets victory. I know they're 2.5 point underdogs, so they, you'd be betting on an underdog outright, which I am comfortable with in this spot. I think they do win the game outright. Bailey Zappi has his helmet on, but Mac Jones is still in. Interesting. And over 174.5. I think he goes over 200. I would love for this to be like build off your career game and have another career game go for 303 touchdowns would be so sick. But even if you're getting, 225, 2 touchdowns, no picks, I think you sign up for that. And a Jets win, you absolutely sign yourself up for that. It's ironic that Zach Wilson went off against the quarterback he most ideally compares to on his best days. Yeah, well, Zach Wilson was compared to so many different quarterbacks, like Mahomes. Remember Mormon Mahomes? That was a funny one. And I think comparing anyone to Patrick Mahomes is really, really difficult, but I get it. Like the off-platform throws and that stuff is what got people excited and got the comparisons. My most realistic, I thought anyway, of him coming out comparison was Matthew Stafford, which kind of similar style of quarterback, right? Like can throw from all the different arm angles, a little bit of a gunslinger, not super, super tall. I believe he's a 6'1" or 6'2", same height as Zach. I like the Matthew Stafford comp the best, but you are right. A lot of people compared him to Patrick Mahomes, which was a little tough, I thought anyway. Because nobody's Patrick Mahomes. Biker chimes in and says Javonte Williams is out. Okay, let's do. Oh, all right, here we go. Inactives, active and inactive times. Tony Adams is back in the lineup, but Israel Abanikanda, Jason Brownlee, Mecole Hardman, Carl Lawson, DJ Reed, Brandon Echols, and Zaire Barnes. Glad Carl Lawson is inactive because he just does not deserve to be on the football field right now. No surprise. Echols and Reed are hurt, so that's not a surprise. Mecole Hardman, inactive. There it is. It's official. Mecole Hardman is inactive in this game. Let me know your thoughts on it. We'll get it going in the chat. I, by the way, pinned the comment. If anyone wants to join the show, we can get you on. But I want to hear your thoughts on Mecole Hardman inactive. Why? My question is, why sign him if you're just not going to use him? What did he do to get in the doghouse? That's what I want to know. What did he do? Jigaman says the Hardman situation is so damn weird. I don't get it. I really don't. Trade him, says King Co. Hennessy says Hardman must have ate the salmon like Denzel. Man, it's really Hardman. Like, why did we get him? Says Fear is Grim. I don't know. I don't know. Like, why pay $6 million for Mecole Hardman and then just not use him? Maybe the Jets look to trade him at the deadline. If they're not going to use him and just give the reps to Xavier Gipson, like why have him sit as inactive? Get a I don't know, a 6th round pick back for him, something. Sawyer chimes in and says, I think Gibson is taking Mecole's start. M is having trouble with the playbook and Gibson is younger, I guess. I don't know if he's having. Did we hear anything about him having issues with the playbook? Although I will say, I am glad the Jets don't let money be the biggest factor. I guess more so with Carl Lawson because he's given you virtually nothing. As much as I liked Carl Lawson and I like the signing, like he has given them absolutely nothing this year. I don't think he should be on the field. Bryce Huff deserves significantly more snaps. Hell, he deserves to be a starter. Play him closer to 50% of the snaps than like, I don't know, 27. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Orlando chimes in. What's going on, Orlando? K Yeti wants to know, how serious are our secondary injuries? Do we need to snag a free agent to fill the gaps? I don't think so. If right now DJ Reed was in concussion protocol and there was optimism about him being ready to go for this game, so I would think he should be fine. The bye week coming up, I think, also helps, right? One more game after this week before the bye, so I think that plays a factor in it too. But yeah, so some surprising ones today. Mecole Hardman's more the surprising one. Nabby, good point. 14 million on Hardman and Cook, and both have given you virtually nothing on the offensive side of the football. That's tough. That's really tough. TJ says Bryce Hall is starting outside, according to Connor Hughes. Let's pull up the tweet. I'll pull up the Connor Hughes tweet, and we can get in and talk about that. All right, here we go. I'm going to minimize your comment, TJ. Thank you for pointing that out. Bryce Hall will replace DJ Reed in the starting lineup today. Kicking Michael Carter out was considered, but would lessen 2 positions. Jets can shade safety help Hall's way if needed, while Sauce Gardner handles the other side. More coming up on SNY's pregame show. That makes sense, I would think. From the Jets' perspective, you could absolutely use Michael Carter outside, but that's not his natural position, and that makes slot corner worse. They're going to put somebody else over the top. I would think it would be Tony Adams, who's back today, will be helping out as the more prototypical free safety back there, while you have Jordan Whitehead and Adrian Amos coming up to line of scrimmage to make plays. But there we go. According to Connor Hughes, it will be Bryce Hall, who started a lot of games for this team in 2020 and 2021. Looked like a completely different player. This did not look like the same guy at all that we saw in his first 2 years in the league, that we saw in week 1 the last year against the Baltimore Ravens. He was pretty much exiled, but he stunk in the preseason that year. And then this year again, he's been bad in the preseason and didn't look so good in the game against Kansas City when he came in for a little bit. Dan and Wes says, do you think it's safe to assume Reed will be back after the bye at the latest? Yeah, I definitely think so. I think there's a chance he plays next week, but the bye week, I think, against the Giants would be the absolute latest. Would be, again, just an educated guess. None of us really know. Robert Saleh doesn't know. He thought, there's a good chance he would play this week. But I wouldn't be concerned about him missing that game out of the bye. I would say that's the absolute latest and worst case scenario there. Yeah, I just saw the highlight. Fears Grim says if we get the Bryce Hall Rams game, no problem. Yeah, I saw that from 2020. He had the interception in that game on Jared Goff. Really nice play, by the way. Sonny says, I wonder if they trade Lawson. While I would be open to that idea, I don't know who would be giving up a draft pick for him. He has looked absolutely horrific. Absolutely horrific. So I don't know who's giving up a pick for that. Maybe the Raiders. The Raiders are supposedly looking for pass rush help after everything going on with Chandler Jones. So who knows? Bryce Hall burnt toast, says Hennessy. I hope not. I really hope not. Yeah, I've got a few comments in on Tony Adams. Dakota says, yes, we need Tony Adams in this game. Orlando G says Tony Adams' back is huge. He'll be filling in the most. Seems that way. Let's see if I can pull up for you the Denver Broncos, who are sporting their snow-capped helmets. It should look cool. Their inactives are as followed. So no Javonte Williams. Fabian Moreau, Javonte Williams, JL Skinner, Alex Forsyth, and Thomas Incoom are all inactive in this one. We'll see what happens there. Javonte wasn't spectacular this past week. He's been banged up, so I don't know how big of a factor that's going to end up playing. Tua just threw another interception. They are begging the Miami Dolphins to just hang around. They're begging the Giants to hang around in this game. Do they have enough? My fear is that the Giants are still going to lose, and the Dolphins are not going to cover, which is going to bother the crap out of me. Right now it's 24-10. Giants could go down and look to get points. It's 1st and 10 on the 23, and they run for -3 yards. Oh, goodness gracious. The dude says, Matt, have you given your score prediction yet? I did in the pregame preview video, but I will do it here as well. 30-10, Jets win. I think Breece Hall has an active day. I think he has 2 touchdowns, 1 rushing, 1 receiving. I also think that we see Garrett Wilson get in the end zone. So good day for Zach Wilson, 2 passing touchdowns, a rushing touchdown for Breece Hall, 3 field goals as well. And defensively, I think the Jets show up. Sauce Gardner gets an interception. I think they sack Russell Wilson 4 times in this game. And I think overall the defense plays a really, really good one, allowing only 10 points. I know it stinks losing both Brandon Echols and DJ Reed, but I think the Jets pass rush is going to play a big factor. And I think we see the Jets offense in a good spot. So the offense is in a good spot. They start fast, get the Broncos on their heels and having to throw themselves back into this game. And that's where the Jets are able to capitalize. Jets best says Reed out. Yep, DJ Reed is out with a concussion. That was announced on Friday. So the Jets will be playing Bryce Hall instead in that spot. Hennessy Eisman too can throw 10 picks. Giants will still lose. Yeah, it feels that way, which is again frustrating for Miami Dolphins bettors because the Giants will probably backdoor cover and lose by 10 points instead of the 12.5 that the line was. Yeah, this Giants team, their only touchdown of the day came on a pick 6 from Jason Pinnock. They were gifted great field position on the 23-yard line and have a real shot right now. Let's see if they pick up this first down. They don't. They go underneath. So the Giants are going to settle for a field goal from like the 17-yard line. That's just absolutely embarrassing. So maybe, you know what? Maybe I take it back. The Dolphins might end up covering anyway because the Giants offense can't move the ball 10 yards. We got some score predictions in here. K Yeti is saying 34-13, most likely 20-13, but I'm always the optimist, not going to lie. Okay, perfect. I am completely okay with that. I'm okay. Even if it was 20-13, sign me up. But I would like to see an offensive performance that gives you some optimism, right? Like find a way to 30 points. That would be pretty epic. Just win, really. If they win 10-9, I'll be happy. I just want a win and to salvage this season a little bit, but it'd be nice if you got a good defensive performance and the offense breaks out a little bit as well. Jingle Dub says, my 7-year-old just told me he was a Dolphin fan because he likes cyan blue. I just threw him out of the house and locked the doors. Oh God. That's too funny because he likes the color blue. My sister, who she's a big Jet fan now. She really always was a Jets fan. We were always a Jet fan, but she liked the Miami Dolphins when we were younger because of their colors. Teal is or blue is really her favorite color, but teal as well. And she liked Ricky Williams, which I mean, we both grew up in the early 2000s, so Ricky Williams was awesome. But going up against the Jets, I did not like Ricky Williams. That's funny. That's really funny. Hennessy saying 17-13. All right, lower scoring game. I'll still take it though. King Coast is 27-13 revenge for Hack. Hell yeah, sign me up. 27-14 says Junio Rudy. I like that. I like all those options. Thoughts on how the post-game coach handshake will go? I hope that the Jets win, and I hope Robert Saleh tells Sean Payton that you guys played hard and just smiles at him and says, you guys play hard. A little nod to the Hard Knocks comments. That's amazing. That's what I hope happens. I hope Nathaniel Hackett punches him in the face. No, not really. He's not going to actually do that. He's classier than that, but I can't wait to see that. And hopefully it's after a New York Jets win. It'll be that much sweeter. Brian says, can't lie. Post Ace Ventura, I kind of dug the Dolphins. Yeah, I mean, Ace Ventura, fantastic 90s movie. I get it. Kind of like the second one where he goes to Africa. I like that one. That one's funny. But the first one with, Dan Marino, Laces Out, iconic movie. And how do you know, like the dolphin, cool animal. It just thinks that they're our rival. Matt Curtis, he's a member of the channel. If you would like to be a member of the channel, you could join by hitting the join button down below. Help support me and support the channel. You get a little logo next to your name. You get some cool emojis for the chat, and you help support. What's with the Lawson and Hardman inactive today? So for Carl Lawson, that one I don't mind at all because he has given the Jets virtually nothing. He's been probably their worst edge rusher, and they have reps to give to Bryce Huff and Will McDonald and Jermaine Johnson. So I don't mind them, doing that at all. Hardman one I find bizarre. I understand, Xavier Gibson's an emerging player. I get that. I like Xavier Gibson, but you can utilize Hardman's speed on the field. And you don't have to give all your slot reps to Randall Cobb. You could use Hardman a little bit more, and you paid him $6 million this past offseason. So yeah, I don't know. Weird. Definitely weird. Mr. Tim says 70-3 JETS. Let's fly. Sign me up for that. I would be thrilled if we got what? I don't know. You're pulling Zach Wilson in that performance. We're seeing Tim Boyle if that's the case. But 400 yards and 4 touchdowns from Zach. Hell yeah. Sign me the hell up for that. David D says Ace Ventura was never funny. David D,
put him in the fucking bedroom. Get him out of here.
You're getting 5 minutes in the bathroom for that. That's in poor taste. You're not banned for life, but we got to put you 5 minutes in the bathroom for some Ace Ventura slander on the YouTube channel. We can't stand for that. As the Miami Dolphins are back driving now after that field goal, it's 24-13. That Achane is just unbelievable. He is so fast. So when the Jets play them, they don't play the Miami Dolphins till Black Friday. It's a long time before we see Miami. So things could obviously change in the next month plus. But the speed that Miami displays with Waddle, Achane, and Hill is scary stuff. Like, not going to lie, that is scary stuff. I like this comment from Harry. What's up? Harry's a member of the channel as well, too. So if you guys want to support, make sure to hit that join button. Says Sal should wear a bucket hat at the final handshake. Oh, my God, Harry. Yes. Sign me the hell up for that, please. That would be fan-freaking-tastic. Fantastic. I absolutely love it. The whole team should have bucket hats on the sideline after a win. Like, just pop them on for the handshakes after the win. That's great. Jets Best says Mostert, too. I can't forget about Mostert. That's a good point. Thank you for calling that out. Mostert's speedy, too, when he's healthy. He's a good one on the field. Scenario from Brian Bogan says, we score at 69-10. We line up for the extra point, then fake it, and Greg the leg passes to Ruckert for 2. Jets break the point record. The whole sideline maintains eye contact with Sean Payton. Oh, my God. You're talking the good stuff. Things you just absolutely love to see. Sign me the hell up for that, please. That sounds fantastic. The whole team making eye contact. Oh, that's fantastic. Green and White Militia says, Matty Boy, let's effing go. Thank you for joining. Green and White, appreciate you as always. Big supporter, always has been for a long time. Zachary says, did you see Odell got hurt again today? Yeah, he did. I don't want to see injuries for anybody. Unfortunately, with Odell, one of the reasons why I didn't want to bring in Odell is because of the number of injuries that he's gone through over the last few years. He's been banged up a lot, and I didn't think he was worth the money that he got from the Baltimore Ravens. I don't think he's nearly as effective as what even the Jets thought he was going to be, or the Ravens thought he was going to be. And again, I don't want to wish injuries on anybody. I'm not wishing injuries on anyone, but like, that's part of your availability is absolutely a part of the conversation when you are asking about or inquiring about a player. And, that's someone who, again, has struggled to stay healthy and stay on the field. And, someone else who, is going to get linked to the Jets next year, but David Bakhtiari got hurt again and is out for the year. So he played one game this year. He's played 11, 1, and 12 games in the last 4 years. You can't sign him and then go, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. The guy who's been injured the last 4 years gets injured again. I did see that. Hennessy says Patriots have 0 points. That is just something you absolutely hate to see. Could not have happened to a better organization, a better team. Brian says Pat's tanking, no doubt. I don't want to see the New England Patriots. I don't want to see the New England Patriots get the number 1 overall pick. I don't want to see Caleb Williams go there. That would be terrible. Let's go to Hep. He is our first caller. Hep, what's going on, man? How are you?
How you doing, Matt? Good, bud. I got into a bit of an accident, but I'm doing okay. I'd like to talk to you about the backfield of Borden and Breece Hall at the same time. I think it opens up a lot of possibilities.
Oh, I am totally in on that, because I think this is the game we finally see Breece Hall ramped up a little bit more, getting 12 plus carries, and having a fullback lead the way. Borden's here for a reason. He's a good blocker. I'm with you. I think having him out there and being the lead blocker should absolutely be something they do in this game,
as well as catching the balls out of the backfield and protecting Zach. So it's like almost having another bodyguard back there. Also, one other thing is maybe it's time to sit Cook and bring Izzy on. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm totally in on that. The inactives came out just a few minutes ago, and Izzy is inactive again, so Dalvin Cook's active for this game. But I think we're going to see Izzy Abanikanda one of these days. Maybe it's out of the bye. Maybe they're going to give Dalvin Cook, that a little bit more of a leash. But I'm with you. I'm ready to see the young guy over Dalvin Cook, if we're being honest.
Thanks, Matt. See you, bud.
Thanks, Hep. Appreciate you joining in on the program. Good stuff. Love it. Brian comes in with a question, says, off-topic question, how's our special teams ranked? It's got to be up there. I would think it's got to be pretty good. Can we see special teams DVOA? It's loading. The Jets are number 1 in special teams defensive DVOA. In special teams DVOA. Number 1. They've been really good with the Gibson return, the punt, Thomas Morstead. Like, I know we don't want to see Thomas Morstead out there because that means the Jets are punting, and obviously that's a bad thing. we don't want that, but he has been an absolute weapon as a punter. A significant upgrade over Brain Man, and we all know how good Greg the Leg is. But the Jets have a very, very good special teams right now. Oh, I like this one from Green and White Militia. Bawden and Ruckert on the field on the same time is going to be a problem. Yeah, I am all the way here, and thank you for pointing this out with Jeremy Ruckert, because I am all the way here for giving him some more reps. He finally surpassed CJ Uzama as tight end 2 in terms of reps, and it probably won't be this week, but I do think at some point this year, we have to talk about him being tight end 1 over Tyler Conklin. Conklin's a very streaky player. He's an okay blocker, but he struggles catching the football. Whether it's a contested catch or making a hard play, like, you can think of so many examples over the last few years of him not being able to come up with the ball. The ball in the end zone against Kansas City last week's one that he has to catch. In Zach Wilson's first game back last year, there was a ball off of his hands that ended up being a pick 6. Like, against Pittsburgh, like, these things add up after a little bit. And again, I like Conklin. I'm not saying kick him to the curb, but to me, he's not like that much better to the point where we absolutely can't put Jeremy Ruckert on the field. I think there's a world where Ruckert could surpass him. No way. Jets Worldwide chimes in, says Mac another interception. Good Lord. They absolutely stink, the New England Patriots. And again, it just goes back to, you absolutely hate to see the Jets lose that game a couple of weeks ago. Embarrassing. An absolutely embarrassing performance. You held Mac Jones and the New England Patriots at 13 points, and you still lost. That's unacceptable. This team stinks. You'd feel a lot better right now if you were 2-2, but would have, could have, should have. Get the win today. Makes you feel a little bit easier, makes you feel a little bit better. Thank you for the super chat. Always love talking to Mac Jones interceptions. I want to pull this up from Twitter. Garrett Wilson signing gloves on the sideline. That's what this is about. The little stuff. I love when athletes go and do this stuff for kids, because it means, it means so much for them. Really, that's unbelievable to see that. Look how happy this kid is. That's great stuff. And I don't know, like, sometimes, with the adults who do it, they're going to sell it and stuff like that. But the doing stuff for the kids, like, this kid's never going to forget that forever. That's awesome. J Boy says, Matt, we are 0 for the last 15. Only way we beat them in their house by 40. That would be, again, 15 is too many in a row to lose to this New England Patriots team who is not good. But can I paint a picture for you where we can make this feel like semi-acceptable and semi-passable? Ready? Let's paint the picture. Jets are 9-7 going into the final week of the season, or 8-8 going into the final week of the 9-7 or 8-8 going into the last week of the year. A win gets them into the playoffs. You go on the road to New England and you beat them in their place and you clinch a playoff spot. And for New England, they end the year with 4 or 5 wins. So they're not picking first overall. They're picking 6th. And you're like, yeah, nice double bird to you, New England. You're not bad enough to get Caleb Williams. You're not good enough to be competitive. And, Pittsburgh Steelers just scored a special teams touchdown or safety. That was kind of cool. I don't know what happened there, but that was really cool. Nice. But yeah, sign me the hell up for that. I am all the way in on going there and do in a win-in situation and getting the job done, exercising the demons that way. How about that? Bailey Zappi's coming in. Wow, we're getting Bailey Zappi time in New England. K. Eddie is saying that was not a catchable football. I severely disagree. I think he got his hands on it. He absolutely should have caught in that ball last week. Let me know down in the chat if anyone else agrees with me, if Tyler Conklin should have came up with that catch last week. I think that is a ball that he should have been able to get. Here we go. Here's a look at it. Zach breaks out of a tackle, and it would have been a tough play, but he has both hands on the football, and it's high enough for him to pull in. Robert Saleh, it looks like he thinks he should have caught it too. So Brian says, of all 4 of our top 4 picks last year, I think Garrett will hurt the most if they let him walk. I don't even want to think about that. I don't want to think about it. That's still 3 years, 4 years down the line, right? You got to be able to retain your talent, draft talent, and retain them. I don't want to think about it, but you're right. That would hurt. That would absolutely hurt. I don't want to see it. Garrett Wilson, who should be getting ready for the game, says Conklin has to catch that. Brian says, I think that was a 9 out of 10 hard catch to make, but you make the money to catch the ball. Wrong verb. I'm going to go back to you, Knobcraft, in a second. Says Conklin had both hands on it. Yeah, I think it was a tough play. I'm not denying that it was a tough play, but he has not been good with contested catches. So if they're 9-7 going into New England with playoff ramifications and lose again, what next? Oh, Knobcraft, not good, man. I think everyone is back. Because they're going to want to run it back with Aaron Rodgers at the helm next year and say, that's what it's going to be. That's the difference, is if we have Aaron Rodgers, this team is not, 9-8, and they're playing for something much, much bigger than that. That would hurt, though. I don't want to hear that, Knobcraft. We need some positivity in the chat, man. I don't want to talk about losing and winning in game. I'm still not over Buffalo, and that was 8 years ago. Tony Alexio says, bench useless Cook. We want Izzy. I eventually want to see Izzy Abanikanda as well. Knob says, I hate that it's so difficult to be optimistic. No, that's fair. I totally understand that. It's a challenge. It absolutely is a challenge. But I don't want to think about losing a 16th time in a row to the New England Patriots and get knocked out of the playoffs. Jets Worldwide, thank you again for the super chat. Says Aaron Rodgers return game versus the Pats. Oh yeah, I don't know if you guys saw Nick Faria on with Jake Asman earlier in the week in his weekly spot. Great guest and quickly becoming my favorite guy on the Jets beat. Talked a scenario where Aaron Rodgers returns the final week of the season and plays the New York Jets into a playoff spot. And that just makes me all kinds of giddy. I would sign up for that in an absolute second. Aaron Rodgers. I don't know. Did you guys see the pictures of Aaron Rodgers? I hope you did. If not, I'm going to pull them up because it got me excited. Look at Aaron Rodgers 3 weeks after surgery, getting ready. Love it. The shadow in the background, something's eerie about that. This is the look of a guy who's coming back from an Achilles in 4 months. He'll be ready for the last game of the year. Why not? Why not him? We have time for a few more. We're going to be on until about 3:30. No, actually, we'll go a little longer than that. I apologize. We'll go to about 3:45. So we got some more time in here. We'll go for about 1:15 on this stream. Getting you ready for New York Jets against the Denver Broncos, 4:25 kickoff time. Remember, Green Bean is streaming on the Talkin' Jets channel. I will be on with them at halftime to discuss the game. And it should be a lot of fun. Hopefully an exciting game where the Jets have a lead and aren't down 10-0 out of the gate. That'd be good. I like this one. Someone needs to edit the shadow in the background to a dragon. Oh, sign me up for that. Yeah, let's pull that back up. Can we Photoshop that and get this looking like a dragon? Oh, the shadow. Look at him. That's a man on a mission. His crutches next to him. I love it. I'm excited for Aaron. I love how much he really cares about this team, too. So many people were so quick to say, oh, get 4 snaps. He's going to disappear. Go back to California. You won't see him till 2024 if you see him at all. This is going to end his career. And he's back in the booth 3 weeks later, right? Like, and back training and trying to fight to get back for this team this year. That really means a lot. It does. I don't think that could be understated because Jet fans don't get good things like that. Like we don't get good stuff like this. And, Aaron Rodgers coming and getting hurt, that's a prime example. But for him to then just disappear and then go away, that would be so like typical. But the fact that he's not, just, I don't know. It's hard not to get excited and hard not to appreciate that. SG says, I want to see our D-line go crazy today. I think this is a really good opportunity for the defensive line. Now, the Broncos offense, and specifically Russell Wilson, they're not bad. They have capable wide receivers. Russell's not exactly prime Seattle Russell, but he's significantly better than where he was last year. For them, he's capable. They're the 10th offense in the NFL right now. So they're a top 10 offense. That you have to respect that. But Russell is prone to taking sacks, and he's not nearly as mobile as what he once was. He holds on to the ball for a really, really long time. So I think this is a scenario where the Jets could get after the quarterback and could get some sacks. Fears Grim says, here's a scenario. Rodgers comes back week 16, practices for a week, and then starts next week. Perfect. Sign me up. Absolutely. I just hope the Jets are afloat because that's what has to happen. We could talk and dream about all day long if, what if Rodgers is able to come back in January? But if the Jets are 3-12, he's probably not looking at a time to come back. Got to take care of business today. At worst, get to the bye at 2-4. And then out of the bye, you have the Giants, you have the Chargers, you got the Raiders, and you got Buffalo. Can you be 5-5 through your first 10 games? If you're 5-5 through your first 10 games, you have half a shot going down the stretch here. It's really not asking a lot. Mr. Tibb says, good to enjoy the 420. To enjoy 420, then game starts. Yeah, I mean, it is different, right? We're used to these 1:00 games for the New York Jets. And, right now I'm watching the 1:00 games. I'm streaming, talking to you guys, talking Jets football, things I love to do. And I am watching Red Zone, watching the end of these 1:00 games. And I'm mad that I benched Zach Moss because I thought, Jonathan Taylor's back. Why should I play Zach Moss? And he has 2 touchdowns over 100 yards. I hate fantasy football. I don't. It's fun, but I just am not good at it. Bailey Zappi is in at quarterback for the New York Jets, for the New England Patriots. I'm going to text good buddy Tyler and see how he's doing. How are you enjoying Zappy Hour? Enjoying Zappy Hour. We'll see what he says. It's not an ACL. He has an Achilles injury. And his plan is trying to get back for week He's trying to get back in 4 months. That's his plan. Cam Akers did it in 5 months and is a running back. So the 4-month timetable will put you at early January. Andrew says Buffalo lost today helps. It does. And New England's loss should help. Like, you got to win this game and get to 2-3. You're 1 the game out of second place at that point. You jump the New England Patriots, who would then be in the cellar and have a quarterback problem. You got to find a way to win this game. I don't care. I would like it to be, a convincing win where the offense plays really, really well. But if they win this game freaking 2-0 and only score a safety, just win the game. You got to find a way to win this game. Duncan says surprise standout player today. Surprise standout player today. Tony Adams. Can he be my surprise standout player coming back from injury today, back in the lineup? I think we'll play a lot with, trying to help shade Bryce Hall's side of the field. Maybe comes away with an interception. I hope the Jets can create some turnovers, get some pressure on Russell Wilson, make life difficult for him. And then I'll give you one on the offensive side of the ball. Breece Hall seems like the obvious one, but I want to go, more of a surprise. Maybe Lazard, because I think Zach is showing that he feels pretty comfortable throwing to a big receiver. We saw it with Corey Davis, and Allen Lazard, I think, is playing a nice role. So Lazard will be my surprise standout on offense. Surprise on defense, I'll say Tony Adams. Fears Grim says Xavier Gibson. Okay, I like that. I would sign up for that. Get your explosive playmakers to football. Really not too hard. Justin says, surprise standout player, Dalvin Cook. Maybe they are a really bad rush defense. Maybe this is finally the time, but I hope not, because I want to see Breece Hall shine today. I want to see a lot of Breece Hall today. Andrew asked if McDonald is active. Yes, he is active. Here for the meme says, did you predict the score yet? I did. I predicted 30-10 Jets win. I am confident in this game. Oh, Daniel Jones left the game with an injury on a sack. He took a sack and left. That's not a good sign. We'll keep an eye on that, but he's coming off slowly. Oh my God. Giants 6 sacks today after 11 last week. They're losing 31-13. It's getting ugly for the Giants, who the Jets play in, a few weeks. They have a bye. They have the game today, the Eagles, a bye week, and then the Giants. So, there's some time for guys to get healthy before they play, but that's going to be a big game too. 30-10 is my score prediction, though, to comment for here for the memes. Junio Rudy says CBS changed from the Pats game to Ravens Steelers. Good. That's the better game. I think I picked the Steelers against the spread in that game. I believe it was 4.5. The AFC North always plays tight games. And Mike Tomlin at home as a home underdog covers at like 76%. It was some crazy number. So we'll see if that stays to fruition, right? There's 6:10 left in the game. And it looks like the Steelers defense might get off the field. So that could be good. Tony Hardman is not active. We will go back. I'll pull up the actives and inactives list for anyone that missed it earlier in the stream when we pulled it up. Here is a look at your inactives. Izzy Abanikanda, Jason Brownlee, Mecole Hardman, Carl Lawson, DJ Reed, Brandon Eccles, Zaire Barnes. Reed and Eccles are out with injury. Barnes, Brownlee, and Abanikanda, have been inactive for each one of these games. Carl Lawson is a performance thing, and I guess Hardman could be considered a performance thing, but that means it looks like they are going a different direction at wide receiver with him. So maybe they do end up looking to trade him in a couple of weeks. That's just really, really bizarre to me. Yeah, good point from Lee. Says Andrew Thomas got them by the balls in contract negotiations. Absolutely. One, he's one of the best offensive tackles in the sport. We know that, but that line is absolutely horrific without Andrew Thomas. Johnny Dank says, hey, Matt, what's up, Johnny? Thank you for joining us here on the stream. John's a member of the channel. He says, okay, let's go Jets. Got my chicken tender, sub, chips, dips, and I am ready. I got buffalo chicken dip that I'm going to just start getting ready after I hop off the stream to be good to go for the 425 games. Don't know what I'm drinking yet today. I'm thinking I'm going to keep it simple, and I think just do Jack and Cokes. I have a big bottle of Jack Daniels that I should probably knock down a little bit of. The Steelers fumbled on the punt return. That's not good. So it's 1st and goal for the Ravens. Shoot, there goes my cover, right? That's annoying. How about them Jets? Thank you for the super chat. Says nervous about this game. I understand the nerves, right? I'm quietly confident. I don't want to get cocky with it because look, any given Sunday, and number two, Denver's a pretty good offense, but that defense is just so bad that this is finally a good matchup for the New York Jets on the offensive side of the football. Because let's face it, they've had to go against some pretty tough defenses early on in this year. Buffalo, as we know, is a good defense. The Kansas City Chiefs defense, which was their best game offensively, probably, is a good defense. The Cowboys defense is fantastic. And we know New England gives Zach Wilson and the Jets fits. So that is what it is. But this is finally a time where like all excuses go out the book or go out the window on the offensive side of the football. Like just find a way to get this thing done. It should not be that challenging. Steelers terrible now too. Awful since last season. I wanted Brian's chat, but Dakota, you're not necessarily wrong. I don't think Kenny Pickett kind of stinks. Pop that champagne in about 4 hours. I would be very happy for a win. I want to win. I don't think I'm popping champagne for a win to get to 2-3 over a horrendous Broncos team, but I understand the sentiment and I appreciate that, Brian. Jay says this seems like the exact type of game we get our hopes for and get crushed yet again. I really don't want to be in that spot. I really don't want to be in that spot. I get it. I understand where Jay is coming from and the people in the chat who've been, really upset and, not upset, but worried or have a fear. I totally get it, but I can't put myself in that spot. I don't want to do it. And if I end up let down at the end, then that's horrific. Let's go to how about them Jets is calling in. What's going on, man? How are you?
Hey, Matt, how are you doing? My question to you is, depending on how this game goes today, hopefully the Jets do win. But what if Zach doesn't have a good game and we end up losing this game? What do you think is going to happen going forward?
My guess would be that they still would give him the Eagles game and then maybe look to make a change out of the bye week. I think having the bye week after this game coming up against the Eagles, that would be their opportunity, their next opportunity where they can make a change. That would be my guess if things go poorly today.
Okay, yeah, that's my biggest concern right now. I'm like, because this is like a must-win game. The New England game should have been a win game for us, and this is like a must-win. The way the Giants playing right now, it looks like we should beat them as well.
Yeah, you would hope so.
But then, I'm more concerned, like, okay, are we going to see the same Zach we saw last week, or, are we going to see a Zach that we used to see in? So hopefully, it's not the latter.
Yeah, because if he goes back to, completing 50% of his passes and throwing for 150 yards, then that kind of takes away everything good that we saw, this past week. You got to now build off of that good performance that we saw against Kansas City.
Yeah. All right. You guys head into any games anytime soon?
Yes. So myself, Ryan, and Green Bean are going to Jets Chargers. We're doing a tailgate with Tailgate Joe. We're getting on the field pregame, and we have a group of tickets. I believe we have like 10 tickets left. So they're available on talkingjets.com if anyone wants to join us.
Okay, I'll take a look at that later.
Love it.
Yep.
So
All
enjoy
right,
the game today.
Yep.
All right. We got Lima Bean up next. Let's go to Lima Bean joining the show. What's going on, man? How are you?
Hey, man. I'm cautiously optimistic, but I'm still really nervous about this game. I don't know why. I just am, I guess, years of being a Jets fan. But my two biggest concerns is that A, DJ Reed is out, and B, out of all the weeks, Denver's getting back their defensive players, which, like, come on, like they skirted by like every other team gets like an easy one, but we have to go through like the trials and tribulations. I'm just like, why can't we get a break? I don't want to see anyone injured, but like, couldn't they wait another week?
Yeah, no, I totally get that. There is that little fear in the back of your head that, oh no, like they're finally getting healthy. But I don't know if that pass rush is going to be able to do enough. And if the Jets offensive line continues to play the way that it does, and if Zach has the clean pockets, then I still think there's a world where he could, take advantage there. That's the hope. But I'm with you. It's just perfect Jets timing as usual, right?
Yeah, like it's that, and also I'm just tired of playing in Denver or playing the Denver Broncos because we've been playing them nonstop and 3 years in a row at their place, which is a house of horrors when it comes to like their atmosphere and injuries and all that other stuff. So like, I don't know, like I still go back to 2019 where during the Bengals game they were like 0-8 or 9 or something, and that's the game they decide to bring back Andy Dalton against us to get that one win. I was like, I don't know. Like, I want them to do well, but like, I'm afraid that like Sean Payton's gonna like, bring out like every trick in the book because he just wants this win more than anything to prove his words right.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm with you, and that would absolutely stink. Like, I don't know, this Jets team, they got to find a way to get up for Nathaniel Hackett, and I just hated everything that Sean Payton was doing, whether it was the Hackett comments or talking about the Jets on Hard Knocks. Like, this is a one you got to get motivated for.
Yeah, no, I'm just fingers crossed, right? Like there's a lot of bad teams this year, or at least a lot of 1-4 teams, so just hoping we're not one of them. That's what I'm trying really hard.
Crazy. Lima Bean, you got a score prediction for this one before we let you go?
I mean, in my heart of hearts, I think we're going to break 30 for once. Ooh, like because it's rare, I know, for a Jets to score anything above like 15, but like, it's just 30. I would say, 30-17.
I'll take it. So, I will absolutely sign up for that. Enjoy the game, Lima Bean.
Right. Thanks, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you for calling in. We got time. We'll do a couple more comments and then get on out of here. Get you ready for this game. As I mentioned, Green Bean and Jeremy will be streaming over on Talking Jets. I'll see him at halftime. Hennessy asked, did Rodgers travel with the team? I don't know. I didn't see anything about him being there, so I'm going to assume no. Which is fine. I would expect him to be there for home games. Like the Jets are home against the Eagles next week, so maybe he's back in the building. But I didn't hear anything about him traveling, and I would be kind of surprised if he did, to be honest with you. Chrome says, as a Jet fan, I feel like the revenge games always go against us, but never for us. This is the time for it to change now. And Jets Worldwide is here to remind us that the Pats are down now 34-0. Things you just absolutely hate to see. Daniel's here. Big Dolphin fan says they're better back in the league than Devon Achane. He's been fantastic. That offense is explosive. They are incredibly good offensively, and defense has been good too. Nice bounce back performance this week, Daniel. Give you credit. Looks like you're going to hold down first place for right now, and for the next little bit, it seems like. And Chrome chimes in and says Rodgers not traveling with the team. So there it is. That's official. Let's leave it there. We just went over the hour 15 mark. Again, I will have my post-game coverage after the game. So make sure to stay tuned for that. I'll be on with Green Bean at halftime. Hopefully the New York Jets come away with a victory today. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for watching. Before you go, leave a like, subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, and I'll catch you next time.